cannot trust you, Damon. I've never trusted you wholly, much though I wished to, willed myself to. But now I have seen that your heart belongs only to you. And when I was a child, I took this as a challenge, but I'm older now. I have challenges enough.
I have served you faithfully.
Have you? Or have you used me as a tool with which to grasp at your stolen inheritance?
Does Daemon Targaryen really love Rhaenyra? This is perhaps one of the most debated topics in the fandom ever since the start of the House of the Dragon TV show. Many of Daemon's actions since the very first time we see him seems to suggest that he does. He gives her expensive gifts, takes her on nice evening strolls around King's Landing and its many fine establishments, and of course he himself crowned her, which was quite a gesture considering where he started. But then you have this scene where he is choking her as soon as she mentions the prophecy which he was not let in on.
The coming war against the darkness in the north, the conqueror's dream. Sarah shared it with me when he named me heir.
And this action alone has a lot of people double guessing whether his feelings are true, or if this is just another scheme of his just to get him closer to the throne. And yeah, let's be honest. Even though a lot of us really like him, Daemon is not a good man. He straight up killed his first wife, he beat this poor messenger house to death, he seduced his niece, and yes, he is obsessed with power, but the truth is, he doesn't really want to sit on the Iron Throne, at least not as much as he wants to feel personal validation. That one line from season 6 of Game of Thrones where Edmure Tully is talking to Jaime Lannister describes Daemon and his situation perfectly.
Tell me, I want to know, I truly do. How do you live with yourself? All of us have to believe that we're decent, don't we? You have to sleep at night. How do you tell yourself that you're decent after everything that you've done?
Yes, how do you live with yourself and how do you justify your actions? From constantly being a headache to your brother who raised you, to calling his deceased child the heir for a day, or more recently, ordering the murder of a 6-year-old. I'd imagine all of these actions take a toll on the mind. It can't be easy to live with yourself after doing all of this, unless of course if you're a complete psychopath, which many would argue is true for Daemon, but I don't really think so. Just looking at this from a purely writing perspective, making any major character quote-unquote mad or a psychopath feels very cheap. Psychotic characters don't really follow any logic or common sense, meaning that you can write anything on the page and justify it with, oh, he or she is crazy, so it doesn't need to make any sense. I don't think this is the case for Daemon. In fact, I think he is far better written here in the show than in the original source material. There, he is said to be far worse, and it's a miracle that he didn't usurp either his brother or Rhaenyra at some point. But alas, let's move on. A lot of people in this fandom state that he loved his brother and that he wanted his approval, but that's not entirely true. While yes, I do think Show Daemon loves his brother, at least to a degree, his approval was never his end goal in all of this. In the end, Viserys' good graces would have served Daemon very little, mainly to counteract how much of a shitty person he truly feels like he is, and that still wouldn't have gotten him very far. So yes, he doesn't want the throne, instead he wants to have the freedom to do whatever the hell he wants, without anyone ever questioning him. Or better yet, having someone of high stature like his brother or his niece telling him how great he is. So where does this leave his relationship with Rhaenyra? Well, in an extremely toxic relationship for one. Daemon does seem to love Rhaenyra, but not in the traditional sense. He is not in love with her. Instead, this seems to be about how much she reminds him of himself, and also, it is a form of familial love. Say what you will about Daemon, he does care about his name, house and family. Yeah, that kind of reminds me of someone. But you know, way more impulsive and not nearly as smart.
You gonna say something clever? Go on, say something clever.
In short, yes, Daemon loves Rhaenyra, in his own twisted way. You can say their bond is very special, and Rhaenyra herself said it best.
iksi. Entrano chimerir zala conitilix.
This describes the relationship perfectly. What they have is unhealthy, twisted, and downright destructive to them and everyone around them. But still, we can't deny that it is real. And overall, I think that him loving Rhaenyra and Viserys in the show makes him a better character. If he didn't, it would only push him further into the black spectrum, no pun intended by the way. But what I mean is, it would only make him more evil, where instead he is clearly intended to be a grey character. As said by George himself.
You know, I'm notorious for my love of grey characters. And one of the greyest characters in the entire history of Westeros is Daemon Targaryen, the Rogue Prince. He switches sides several times. You never know what side he's going to come down on. He's a very colorful and unpredictable character.
As a conclusion, I would like to point out the scene that kicked off this video. What Damon said here about Viserys and why he was not named the heir only shows how self-centered and insecure he truly is. And Rhaenyra calling him out on it was just perfect.
Who was raised at his side? Do you believe he made you heir because of your great wisdom? Because of your virtue?
How dare you?
Or did he merely use you as a tool to put me in my place because he was afraid of me? Because he knew your legacy, unlike mine, would never outshine his own?
He was not afraid of you, Damon! He could not trust you.
Looking at them interacting like this felt like watching a real-life married couple fight, and I enjoyed every second of it. Which sounds a bit weird, but you know what I mean. I love the fact that even though House of the Dragon has many amazing visuals, battles, dragons, etc., what makes the show truly great is the same thing that made Game of Thrones great in the first place: the dialogues and character interactions. Something quite simple as two characters talking in a room can outshine any spectacle HBO can throw at us, and that's saying something. But yeah, what do you think? Does Damon love his wife/niece? Or is all of this just a power play? Let me know what you think in the comments. And in the meantime, if you're interested, I am currently on a great crusade to get Game of Thrones fans disappointed by the ending of the original series to watch House of the Dragon, by jumping straight to season 2. Which I know sounds weird, but it seems to have worked since now they're all catching up to the show, so we can do proper reactions and discussions on this channel. So yeah, that's it guys, thank you for watching and until next time.